who is the front-end developer? So let's stretch up. Yeah, front-end developers, designers. Okay, and back-end developers. Okay, so front-end and back-end developers. Full stack, yeah, full stacks. Okay, thank you. So my name is Egor Miasnikov. I'm solution architect at AWS. So thank you for this advertisement before about the AWS. And we have like one product which help you to do the magic. And I'm React user because all my project and POCs which I start and develop, I use React because this is like easy for me to do that. And I'm very passionate that all this digital transformation that currently happens using EIML and stuff like that. So, and this is my LinkedIn. If you want to, you can connect me and bring your ideas or questions regarding the AWS and stuff like that. All right, so today I would like to talk with you about one challenge. Challenge the iteration and collaboration between designer and front-end developer. So who have some issues, maybe challenges to iterate with designers, front-end developers? Okay, and designers, you also have it? Have it? Okay, great. And our actors today. So we have our fancy designer who is, fancy designer, front-end and back-end developers, right, engineers, and our CTO. CTO, I put it on the screen because CTO commonly try to solve all these issues, right? And let's imagine that expectation to iterate, we have idea, we have designer who design all this fancy stuff, iterate with our front-end developer. Front-end developer built all this fancy UI on our using React. And after iterate with back-end developer to save all this data inside the cloud or database. And we have our happy users who are using our product. And in reality, we still have the idea, front-end design, front-end engineer, designer, back-end engineer, and our happy users. But what if we need to do something to add from designer on the front-end? And we are getting the more requests from designers to implement features, and if we can't implement these features, so we back to designers, say, hey, this is hard to implement, and we need to think how it create it easier, right? And after we iterate with backend, and iterate, so sometimes developers spend the month to fix and push it because we need to do this grid or that grid or even that grid, right? And 50% of the designers are not satisfied how developers implement their designs because they want to see it as the mock-ups. And in this case, designers are not happy and developers frustrated because they do a lot of stuff with React, but in reality, they are trying to solve all this magic from the designer. And partially, companies try to solve that. So we have like UI components, for example, Amplify or Material UI or Chakra UI. And you can use these components to use inside the Figma, for example, and use the same components on the front end, and you can build like a Lego from the blocks, and you have like similar design. I remember the time when there was the Bootstrap, and all the sites use Bootstrap to build the UIs, and this is like they are looks similar in, for example, you have like 10 websites and they are all similar from the UI perspective. And what about creativity? So designers wants to be creative and our users wants to be create designs and for their applications, right? And in this case, we have users, we have designer iterate with the users wants to fancy design, not the or unique design, and they after that, this is like requirements for front-end developer to implement this creative design. And this is back to the iteration all around the team, right? And currently, I would let's imagine that we have a simple application. I call it a Pictura. This is application which we'll build with Figma, React. We have serverless there and store all this data in the cloud. And what if we have something to help designers and front-end developers iterate and collaborate between them? So we have mockups in Figma, and we need to create it in React. And the challenge which we need to solve inside the team, our CTO can solve. So let's imagine that our CTO play in golf with AWS Solution Architect. And AWS Solution Architect proposed that, hey, we have like Amplify, which can solve your problem, and you can try to do the POC to see how it works. And currently, they are our CTO back to the team and say, hey, I have a new opportunity to build the POC and use Amplify Studio for that, and let's try it. Okay, so our new first demo. And yes, so we have React. But first, let's imagine that we are designers, right? And as a designer, you are using the Figma. For example, we have primitives here. For example, you have like badges, buttons, alerts, and all this fancy stuff. We call it primitives. And from this primitive, our designer built the components. And let's imagine that our AI Pictura will be like Instagram, but for the pictures which are generated by ML, right? For example, we have a number of services which help you to generate the images, and our users will upload these images inside the social network to show how they are prompting for AI. And we have number of components. For example, we have like main post or post with the description, comment card, profile card, or we can edit our profile. So this is like my picture. And for examples, our designers show us how it's going to look at that. So for example, we have like background, we have number of posts. So this is like typical Instagram-like application. And from this perspective, we have already mock-up, so our designer prepared it. And what we need to do. So our developers look on this mock-up and think, how I need to implement it, right? And the next question is to you, so what do you think, what time you need to implement this application? So 1 week, or 1 month? Oh, come on, let's stretch up. 1 month, 1 year, right? Okay. Okay, so what we need to do? We need to use Amplify Studio, yeah? So Amplify Studio, this is the project of AWS to help front-end developers or developers to run easily POCs and even production using the Amplify Studio. So we have like number of components and additional functionality. So I'm not focusing on that because we have a lot of them there, and we just go to UI library. So currently we are inside the UI and we don't have it right here. So what we need to do? So we need to click the button, and for the button we are going and share our Figma template, right? So currently I copied the Figma template and put this Figma template here and press continue. So in this case, Amplify Studio goes to the Figma and get all the stuff inside the mockup to the Figma. So currently, you see that we already implement the color system, and we as maybe designer or front-end developer accept the changes. And after we are getting 9 updates. So we have like 1 component, 2nd component, 3rd, and stuff like that. So I accept them all. And yes. So currently we have number of components. And voila, so we have here, and let's mention that we already have like components, and they are already in front end. And maybe you can say, hey, if we go to the Figma, so currently, for example, for our examples of the page, we need a number of components, but here we have just 1. For sure, so we can configure it and create the collection of our components, but this is later. Okay, now this is like, we have like components, but this is not whole application, right? So I think I have slides for that. Yes. This is more than building application. So application, we have front end. For front end, we need to back end, fill all this data inside the front end components, and show the real application. And Amplify can help you with that. So we build the system which help you to connect front end and back end seamlessly without any coding. And we have UI components pre-built, or which we just imported from the Figma. We can ship it, and after that scaling. And let's back to our console. Yeah, so we have components, right? And we interesting in that. I prepare for you some content because this is like take the time to deploy this thing inside the cloud, and that's why I deploy it and get some data there. So for create post, you can just create here and put it inside the database. And how we can match it? So currently we have components, we can configure it, and for example, we have like profile. All right. And you see that for profile, we can set the source of the image. And here I say, hey, I have one structure called post. And inside the post, I have like author photo. And for naming, I also can add data and do the mapping inside the UI. For example, I choose, so this is our author, photo of the author, and for our image, we also use the source. This is post image in this case. And here we have first name and last name. Our designers want to do that, so we can also match it with the author, and we have description. So inside our description, we have the prompt which we use to generate this image inside the model, and timestamp. So timestamp when we create. So create at, right? Or we can change it to more fancy. For example, I have a timestamp. Yeah, so for example, I used it like 2 days ago, right? And then, so this is like we prepare the one component and it's already saved. So we are just map our front end with the backend. So we have like model. Under the hood model use GraphQL to connect database. So the database is the DynamoDB. So you store all your data inside the DynamoDB and use GraphQL to fill your front-end components. All right, and let's back to our components and create the second magic, right? We need to create the collection. All right, so we create the collection, and currently you see that we have number of posts. They are related like inside our example in the Figma. So yeah, so here we have the same thing, and here we have the same thing. So you can play with the layout. For example, you want to do this in grid. Yeah, or change the direction of the grid or the list. And also you can add, for example, search functionality for this. Also choosing, for example, yeah, so we have like search, and we can search by what? Bug, right? We can search it by bug. Yeah, so searching also work, but we remove it for now. All right, so inside the Amplify Studio we have it, right, currently. And what next? So you see that we have React app. So what we need to do? In this case, we need to move to our fancy, yes, one sec. Presentation mode, yes. So, it's not working in this case. One sec. Yeah, so I prepare for you the simple application. This is a Create React app with additional thing from the Amplify. Let's take a look on our package.json. So this is simple Create React app. Okay. Can you see the screen? Last, yeah, okay. Okay, yes, so here we have React, and we have two additional things. This is Amplify and Amplify, yeah. Two types of Amplify, and what we need to do. I prepare for you index.js, where you are implementing all this stuff for make it possible to get Amplify components there. So we have temp provider, we Amplify, we import Amplify, AWS config, and Studio, and create these things. So we wrap by theme provider from Amplify our application. All right, and we need to get the latest thing. So for this, we need just putting our components from the Amplify Studio to our local folder. Yeah, so we getting the token for that. Yes. I hope it will work, because this is like live demo, so okay. Yes, so let's take a look that we have. we have exit from, so we have our UI components folder inside our SRC, and we get all this stuff which already inside the Amplify Studio here in our project. Let's take a look. For example, we have collection, our collection, right? So for our collection, we get model post. This is the type of collection, and we build collection components inside that, and iterate by post, right? After, we need to go to our Amplify, so app.js, and inside app.js we remove it. And we need to do the following. So we need to import collection from components and do yes and yes. All right. And what we have? And so I just put one component there inside the React, and currently we have our working application with all the data from the backend. And let's try to add the new post. So we go into manager. I prepare the new post. So we create the post. We have author of the post. We have image. Let's copy image. Description. Description. And there. So I have 7 minutes to go, and the post for 2 days. So we submit them and go to our, and so we have new post there right in your application. Just created, this one. Okay. Let's back to our presentation. So what if our designer wants to add the small feature and we need to add it in our components? So for this, we're going to go to our Figma. I'm currently playing the role of a designer, and for example, we need to go to our components, and they decided to add the bookmark, right? Bookmark functionality to make possible to bookmark my post because I like it and I want to bookmark it to get the fastest access to them. And what we need to do? We need to go to our Amplify library, and inside our library we are synced with Figma. And when we still sync with Figma, Figma send the structure, and we see that something changed. And in this case, you see that here we don't have it. This is like old one, and for new one we have like new functionality. And we say, okay, I accept it, and save components. And currently we are, so I need to rebuild it. And currently we have it right there. Let me, So so currently we update it. And from the front-end perspective, you need to do your update. And for update, you need to just pull the changes from your Amplify. We need to get the new token. 4 minutes. So we're reloading. And voila, yeah, so we already have its additional functionality from, so this is like not functionality because they are not a button, right? But currently this is components which you can create your handler to save it or do whatever you want here. Okay, yeah, so this demo yet, and ship it. So Amplify help you to ship it. So currently you have it, and you can just type the Amplify deploy, and your code from front end, back end, and all this stuff goes to the cloud and going to available for testing for testers or for your users. This is production, right? And how we can scale it. For example, you saw that I create the maps between inside the UI between the data structure and your front end. Currently, you can use the same inside the React. So, for example, you need to populate from different places the data, and you can override it inside your React application. Or you can create the on-click action, like for a button. For example, you want to store it inside the bookmarks. And you also can create this like just a handler. And if you want to implement your stuff and you want to go out from Amplify, you can Amplify export. These components will export to the React components as a library, and you get the CDK, which allow you to deploy it whatever you want inside your account, not using the Amplify. And I think we can say goodbye to frustrating application development process, right? So yeah, frustrating. Bye-bye. So this is the links of UI components links if you want to use something which are not unique. But for uniqueness, you already know how to do your unique UIs and build it inside the React. Yeah, so this is my LinkedIn. One more. And one thing I want to ask you to feedback me if you like this talk or not like. So put your feedback. It's going to help me make the presentation better. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Egor. Now, I'm going to invite you to sit down with all of those questions, and we're going to discuss, because we have some cool questions here. The first and most voted question, and this is going to define your personality.
Okay.
Why are you coding in light mode, man? The world needs to know this.
Oh, this is great question. Great question. Actually, organizers asked me to switch on the light mode because this is a better look on the projector. So, but originally from the dark mode. Yeah. So dark mode.
Oh, okay. So you're still in dark mode side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dark mode.
Awesome. This is a question from Malik. The next question. Juliana asked if Amplify, does it generate the code with TypeScript?
Yes. So currently I choose the JavaScript because it's easier for building the application. You don't need to think around the types, but you see that all components which I get from the Amplify, they already have types, and this is like types code script, but currently it's just JavaScript because it's easier. No types, no problems. Yeah.
Awesome.
It just works.
Yeah, it just works. Okay. So next question is from Ricardo. So, and this is about costs. So, think if you can say any details on this. So, what are the costs associated to using these tools you presented to us today?
Costs, right? So if you build the application, so currently you can use Amplify for free, but all the services under the hood, for example, you're storing data in the DynamoDB, so you need to pay for the DynamoDB for storing, right? Or when you connect the Dynamo, so we use GraphQL. So GraphQL service also like get the cost. And if you want to implement other features, so all other features are used under the hood the services, and services also have a cost for storing. Yeah, but you can start for free to try out the Amplify on your local machine, and after, when you want to go to the cloud, so you start and pay.
So can we check with you later if you're gonna help us with the free version during the break?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So if you guys are looking for a free version trial, look for Egor outside. Next question, man. It's from Paulo. So how are conflicts handled? I don't want to deal with conflicts from my designer. Someone is trying to make a noise here. Paulo, I'm going to look for you, okay? I'm going to bring my designer friends. So how are conflicts handled, Nico?
Conflicts technical, or what kind of conflicts?
He just mentions conflicts. Let's go for technical conflicts.
So I just showed that technical conflicts. So this is like design-driven development. So the first thing that you are doing inside your application or product, you're doing inside the Figma, and designer iterate with the customers to understand what feature they need and create the mockup from that. And after you just getting these updates inside the Amplify Studio, and this is like source of truth of that. And after, you can create all this magic stuff around the functionality inside the front-end application. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, man.
So this is like one direction of flow. So you can't change something in React and it's go back to the Figma, so it's not happening.
Okay. Okay. So still on the streamline of this designer and developers. So it's a question from Killer. I think that's how you say it. What do you think about pixel perfect versus responsive versus adaptive design? Usually designers prefer pixel perfect and devs prefer responsive. And how Figma can help us on this? It's a big question.
Yeah, so currently, if you create the designs in Figma, you can use the variants of the components. For example, you are deal that you have like 3 variants of the components for mobile, iPad, and the wider screens, and you can programmatically change these variants in your code based on the resolution of display, for example. And that's how this is like adaptive, but inside the Figma, I think we converted it in the Flexbox, so this is like also stretch enough for different applications. Yeah. But if you need to change the functionality based on the screen size, this is also possible using variants inside the Figma and use it like programmatically inside the React. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that Amplify helps to designers and devs bond a little bit better during this whole process?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And actually, so I think that we need to create the test environment for designers. So I have one designer who wants to try it, and we want to do the trail for designer to make the whole application without developer. Yeah,
that's cool, man. That's cool. A bit dangerous, but cool. So, and now speaking about giving this kind of, let's say, control. So there's a question from Miguel. And what would you say are the common mistakes that you see developers and teams make when using the AWS Amplify? What would you say?
So I think that developers are afraid to lose control on the components and stuff like that, and think that if a designer create the components automatically goes to React, and developers need to do only building blocks on that. So developers think that they are losing their jobs. And for sure, this is the great stuff for demo the new functionality or POCs for example, your startup, you need to do the full functional application for like one night, right? And you have like designer and one developer, and you need to tomorrow morning so show it on the conference or for investors. So this is like better than presentation, I think, when investors can go and click some buttons and take a look how it feel and touch it. Yeah. So.
Okay. Next question. So Keeler again asking, how does Amplify deal with code changes linked to JS code, and example click handles and data fetching?
Yeah. So. For sure, you have Amplify, and inside Amplify, when you pull in the components, they are aligned in the separate folder. And after, you can create the wrapper on these components and reuse it, fill the new data or compose the data to fill these components and stuff like that. So you, after getting components from Amplify, you can do whatever you want on top of these components, right? So wrappers or rethink how it's going to work. But the smallest thing of the components goes from Amplify, and if you change it, so when you, next time when you pull these components, so I think this is like your changes will be lost because the source of truth inside the Amplify in the cloud. Yeah.
Okay. And now a question to help our fellow developers to not be so afraid of Amplify. And it's a question from Gonçalo Marantes. Are there any real-world examples of companies using Amplify already?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we can check on the website, or our website, Amplify website. So one of the biggest, I think, this is Amazon Music. They are, yeah, of course. And so they use Amplify for updating the playlists, and this is like huge traffic, and they are fully on Amplify. It's work well, yeah.
Okay.
So this is like production-ready solution.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. One of our last questions, and this is anonymous question. Too bad you're not going to win the prize. Is there any specific reason you guys are using Figma for this process? Did you guys consider using any other visual tool like XD or even Sketch?
So I think Figma is easy to use because they have JSON representation of the components, and this is like easier to parse it because you just get the JSON and just parse it inside the components and create the components. And that's all. So Figma in this case is the thing, and I think there is like most popular thing for designers. Most designers move to the Figma, right, from Sketch.
Mm-hmm. It is indeed getting more popular, and it's, I would say, and maybe I'm a bit biased, a bit easier to use than Sketch, especially for these processes to bond designers and developers. So it makes total sense.
Yeah. So you can use Figma, for example, on the beach, so inside the browser, and you don't need a specific application for that. Sketch, for Sketch, you need to use only Mac. Then,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Last question. This is a very critical one.
Okay.
It's from MAPS or Maps. Where did you get your pointer?
Oh.
People are interested on you, Egor.
Amazon.de. So I can share the link on that. So this is like amazing pointer. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Please do. Okay. So I think we can wrap it up for now. Thank you so much, Egor.
Thank you.
This was amazing. Thank you guys for your questions.
Thank you.